A second stimulus check deal is imminent, but why does Mark Meadows still act like he's holding a four-leaf clover? Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Evenings LALATE. Hope you're good and safe. This is our our evening program, in a day in which I said your stimulus check is coming in March. Boy, it's been a tough day, and I know you feel the same. Evenings LALATE is every night at 6:45 Pacific Standard Time. It starts with a check, and then we go to EIDL at 7:15, a 1-hour programming block in a day in which everyone's biting their nails, and yet Steve and Nancy and Chuck and Mitch are just really giving us something to wish about. Let me get right to the details. The four powers that be, Steve, Mark, Nancy, and Chuck, met again today for 2 hours in their fish and chicken 2-hour negotiation daily bit on the second stimulus package. Did they make an agreement? No. But what happened? We don't know. We literally don't know. For the first time since these groups have been meeting, this group has been meeting for over a week to negotiate every single day for 2 hours about the second stimulus package. They went into the meeting and they came out and they gave us absolutely no update. It came in a day in which a lot of strange trash talking and a lot of positive remarks were coming from different sides. It depended on who was speaking. Mitch McConnell, who's not in the club, he's not allowed in the door, was out on the banister trying to get a pitch on CNBC about how bad things were for Democrats and their workings, and that said, hey, maybe we'll have a deal in the fall, or maybe by Christmas. He didn't say it that way, but that's what he basically implied. This is from a man who a week ago said that maybe a stimulus package will come in a couple of weeks. Well, Nancy Pelosi and Steve MNUCHIN, less than 24 hours ago, confirmed to news that they will reach an agreement by Friday, and that despite all odds, they'll have that agreement ready for the Senate. That's what they said. They both said it, not just Steve, but Steve and Nancy. And so we sat here today waiting for an update, and we didn't get one. Earlier today, after I recorded, after that Nancy and Mitch, Nene and Sheree moment on CNBC, the financial news on the morning, Mark Meadows, who seems to act like he's just the most aggrieved child ever, had the strangest remark I've seen to date. He said, when asked about the second stimulus package, he was asked, what do you expect for timeline? Now, before I give you his remark, let me remind you what we have for timeline. Mitch McConnell this week has confirmed on the Senate floor, not, behind a back door, on the Senate floor, he has said the Senate will not leave for recess this coming Monday in order to get the second stimulus package approved. He's actually said that on the Senate floor. Nancy Pelosi over a week ago said that the same on the House floor. So both parties say that they're going to get it done. Steve Mnuchin also said, and Nancy Pelosi said, that they'll make their agreements by Friday. The president says he wants to have a deal done. And guess what Mark Meadows says? You can see where this is going. He was asked, what do you see about the negotiations? He says, I think they're very far apart, and I think we're just going to go home on Friday. What? Earth to Mars, Earth to Mark. First of all, you're not in the Congress. Second of all, both houses of Congress have already agreed to stay in session to get this done. Third, why are you telling congressmen to go home when they decided to stay in session to get this done? And moreover, what do you have at home to go do that's so important? I mean, I really have to say it that way. What do you really have to do that's so important, Mr. Meadows, to go home on Friday to, when the vast majority of Americans have no home to go to because they're facing evictions? I had one viewer who sent me an eviction notice within the last 2 hours on Instagram. Really quite sad. She's here in Los Angeles. No, I'm sorry. She's not. I think she's Louisiana. Millions of Americans have no food to put on their table. They have no electricity. They have no water. And here's a guy who's the White House chief of staff, who I have to add, campaigned to be chief of staff for years, was not given the job. There's a lot of this, and just got the job recently. I mean, just got it in March. Here's telling people to go home. Well, you know what? You go home. You go home, because the viewers of this channel are ready for their check. They're going to get their check. And if you don't want to do the deal, let Nancy and Steve do the deal, because ultimately that's what's going on. If you don't know, the backstory is becoming the front story, because the negotiations are becoming more dramatic than a bad episode of Days of Our Lives. It's like Bo Brady is about to walk in and ask Hope, where's she been? It's just, come on. Steve and Nancy have been negotiating, and they have agreements. So this is the good news, the great news, and I don't want you to get derailed. First I say March for that stimulus check, and now I switch derailed to deranged. I don't want you to get derailed. Dejan, deranged. I don't want you to get derailed by these really crazy remarks from Mitch and Mr. Meadows. What we have are a lot of great deals. And the great deals are on the check, on rent eviction moratoriums, on student debt, on the USPS, and FPUC, at least for a week or 2 weeks at $600 a week. We have those deals. They've been essentially confirmed or stated or implied by all the parties involved. First, all the parties involved say that there's a stimulus check deal. The $1,200 check will be coming to you, and it'll be coming to you whether you're an adult or a minor, whether you're dependent or not a dependent, whether or not you pay taxes or don't pay taxes. This check will land in your account, unlike the first stimulus check, which was not paid to adult dependents 18 years of age older. That's the great news. The next item of great news is that the check will be paid to families up to $6,000 based upon the number of the household. So if it's, this is how it works. Husband, wife, and up to 3 dependents, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would get a single check for 5 people in the house. There is only 2 limiting factors of people that would not get checks. Those are, 1, someone who made an enormous sum of money last year, $200,000, $300,000, and are on Social Security. Or second, someone who's more than 1 of 3 dependents on someone else's tax return. If you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you're getting a check. That's really great news. Things we don't know confirmed absolutely about the check, but we think are the case for the check, meaning we don't know absolutely set in stone, but we think it's likely the case, is 1, the dependent's check will be $1,200, not $500. Really great news about that. 2, that the check will not be taken out for child support. 3, the check will not be taken out for back taxes for either federal or state. That seems to be where we're tracking. Next, FPUC. It's clearly at $600 a week for 1 week, because all the parties agree upon that. The problem is that they don't agree upon how long. And this one is really one of those core issues. The stimulus package amounts are $1 trillion proposed by the Republicans, $3 trillion proposed by the Democrats. The White House wanted $2 trillion. They're allegedly only $1 trillion apart. It's unclear where that $1 trillion is lying. Is it laying, where it's resting? Is it the amount of money expended in FPUC? Maybe. The Democrats are not moving. They're not going to move on $600 a week. They're staying with it $600 a week all the way to January 2021. The Republicans are really scrambling, and I'm not being partisan, I'm just telling you they are scrambling. They're changing their position by the hour. Not this hour, but yesterday's hour. They've done everything. They've offered $100 a week. They've offered $200 a week. Then they offered a proportion of your 2019 salary based on 70% calculation. I'm not going to put you to sleep. It's not time to go to bed yet. Unless you're Mitch, you can go to bed and just don't wake up for a week. Just take a nice hibernation on us. Now the latest proposal is apparently $400 a week. Nancy and Chuck are not moving. They're staying at $600 a week, and everyone is supporting them, both Republicans, Democrats, swing states. The way the look of the landscape is currently, and this is the backstory, which is constantly becoming the front story lately, is the Senate only has to approve this, and then it lands on the president's table. It's the HEROES Act. We're gone with the Republican proposal. It's not being voted anywhere. It hasn't dropped anywhere. It's just their deal memo, basically, at this point, their counteroffer. And so The ironic thing is that a lot of Democrats in the Senate now support a lot of Republicans now in the Senate now support the Democratic proposal. This is really great news because no one's telling us, and I'm telling you, but I don't know the numbers because I'm not on the Hill, that you have all the Democrats in support of the vote in the Senate, and then you have a lot of Republicans who are now deciding to vote in favor of the bill because they understand a no vote would end their career because they can't go back to re-campaign in the fall and just a week from now and say they have no deal. It would be the end of their career. That no one would re-elect them because in the middle of a pandemic, you don't give people relief. It just doesn't look good. And so could the vote actually get passed without even the help of a deal with Meadows and MNUCHIN? Possibly. I just don't know the numbers, and I'm not going to represent I do. What parts of the bill are still on the table and which are clearly off the table and falling apart? First of all, the UPS big number of, a massive amount of money to go to the post office, that's off the table. It's been reduced to a smaller amount. That's agreed upon. Really great news. Next, PPP, that is now part of the agreement. It was not initially not offered by the Democrats. It was proposed by the Republicans. It's now in the deal. EIDL loans and grants, not in there. EIDL increases, not in there. Everything else that you've been hearing about on the side parts, whether it's the Romney plan for hazard pay, the Romney and Rubio plan for the stimulus check, the Warren plan for rent assistance, the Kamala Harris plan for rent evictions, all those bills are going nowhere. They're not part of this, including that EIDL grant video. The grant bill. All those things are not part of this, so they're not in the discussion. So what is still possible to get approved? Hazard pay is still on the table. There's no opposition vocalized about it. Nancy Pelosi came out in favor of it this morning, so that's really great news. And rent grant money, which is different than rent eviction money, is still not agreed upon. Nancy wants to ensure that not only do you have an eviction moratorium that you can't be thrown out of your home, not only do you have a protection against foreclosure of your home, that she wants to give you money to pay your landlord or to pay your mortgage or bank if you can't make the obligations. She doesn't think an eviction by itself is enough protection. I agree with her. So what's going to happen? I mean, it's just, what is going to happen? Well, bottom line is, you have Mark Meadows who says everyone should go home on Friday. No one's going to go home on Friday. You have a very large contingency of people in the Senate who literally are up for re-election in a couple of days. It's just around the corner. It's just a few weeks away. And they absolutely have said very clearly that they cannot go back to their home state on Monday and campaign without a deal. They don't care how much they're Republican and how much they hate the Democrats and how much they don't like the bill. They literally think they can't go back. And what's really eating Mitch McConnell up alive is that, ironically, what's going to happen is that his bill is going nowhere because it can't go back to the House. No one's going to vote for it in the House. They've already passed a bill. So his bill has fallen apart. It's gone. The White House has not had clarity about what they want to do, and they've had mixed messages. The White House does not have executive authority to issue executive orders with the exception of a few things. First, the White House cannot issue a stimulus check. Two, the White House cannot issue FPUC $600 a week. He absolutely can. Three, the White House cannot issue you rent grant money. But the White House can issue an eviction moratorium. The White House can issue a mortgage forbearance for protection. The White House, by executive authority created by the Constitution, can't send money out. That requires an act of Congress. The White House has no authority to order the Treasury to send money to anyone. It has no authority to order states to do anything. And if the president tries to sign an executive order, that does that, it won't go anywhere. But the president has absolute authority to provide an eviction moratorium. So there you go. It's like, get it together, folks. Let's get it together. I mean, I got the batter made. I got the frying pan turned on. Let's make some pancakes. What's going on here? I mean, the guy from Kentucky is bringing the chicken. What kind of chicken and waffles? I mean, let's do it. What's the problem? The problem, some people would say, is that the mindset is really off. And I don't want to sugarcoat this for you, but in the case of Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi this morning literally said that Mitch McConnell is not actually is exactly how we think he is in the bills that he presents. Mitch McConnell, to this very day on a Thursday afternoon at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, is literally thinking that the way that we get out of this pandemic is giving a tax break to rich people to go deduct their lunches at fancy restaurants. Yes, I'm not exaggerating that. That's actually part of his bill. And that you can't sue them for whatever they're doing COVID-19 related. And other than that, we can get along and we don't need anything else. That's literally how he thinks that the American society will survive this pandemic. Nancy's out there trying to get food for people, food stamps, rent for money, people, rent money, providing you ability not to be thrown out of your home, and get you unemployment assistance and money. And she literally has a guy on the other side that says, who cares that you can't eat food? I want to give a tax break to rich people so they can go out to dine at a fancy restaurant and deduct from their taxes. He also wants rich people to be able to deduct their first-class airfare in the stimulus package, because that's the way you stimulate the economy, is giving rich people the ability to deduct their airfare. I never would have thought that in this age, the head of the Senate, a Republican, no less, that often was a party to help people in need, is seeing that the way you get out of a pandemic is giving bailouts and sweet, cushy deals to your rich buddies. No one, even economists, thinks that works. Stimulus is broad. And so ultimately what I want you to do is this. What should I do, Ally? This is what I want you to do. I want you to zone off anything with Mark Meadows. I want you to zone off anything with Mitch McConnell. The next 24 hours to 48 hours and maybe 72 hours, all the way up to Sunday potentially, is going to be a nail biter. And you're going to have Steve Mnuchin and Mark Meadows and Mitch McConnell do what I warned you about last Sunday. They're going to start booking their spots on Fox Sunday morning, CBS Face the Nation, NBC Meet the Press, and they're going to go out and they're going to say things that's going to be nail-biting stuff. And I don't want you to take it with I want you to take it with a grain of salt. It's going to be a strange couple of hours, but I want you to stay positive. I want you to stay focused. I want you to stay motivated, and I want you to stay inspired. People have ultimately told me that what they like about this channel is that their nerves have been settled, that I give you hope, that I keep you motivated, that I keep your spirits up, that I keep you laughing. I wish I had some other references I was going to throw in here, but I forgot about them. I will protect Needy until the next video. With that, stay focused, stay motivated, stay inspired, and stay with LALATE for more.